Let's learn about neonatal jaundice in today's video. Introduction. Jaundice is a physical exam finding and refers to the yellowish discoloration of skin and sclera caused by bilirubin deposition. It becomes visible when the bilirubin level exceeds 2 mg in adults and 5 mg in newborns. Neonatal jaundice is common physiological variant as up to 60% of term healthy and up to 80% of preterm newborn exhibit some degree of jaundice in the first week of life. Bilirubin metabolism. Bilirubin is a product of red blood cell breakdown. When red blood cells are broken down by macrophages, they release hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is broken down to heme and globin, and the heme is further metabolized to become unconjugated bilirubin. Unconjugated bilirubin is water insoluble, so it is carried in the bloodstream on albumin until it is delivered to the liver. Once the unconjugated bilirubin is taken up by liver hepatocytes, it is conjugated by the enzyme uridine diphosphate glucuronosyl transferase or UGT1A and then excreted by hepatocyte into the gallbladder and duodenum. Once in the intestinal tract, most conjugated bilirubin is excreted in feces, but some is reverted back to the unconjugated form by the enzyme beta glucuronidase and reabsorbed into the bloodstream to start the cycle all over again, a process called enterohepatic circulation. Two main types of bilirubin: unconjugated bilirubin, which is also known as indirect bilirubin, and conjugated bilirubin. Unconjugated bilirubin is bind to albumin, fat soluble. Conjugated bilirubin bind with glucuronic acid and it is water soluble. Unconjugated bilirubin can cross blood-brain barriers, so it is toxic in high level, while conjugated bilirubin is excreted in urine and stool, so it is not toxic to the brain. Mechanism of neonatal jaundice. Newborns are prone to what we call physiological jaundice for a variety of reasons. First, typically they have high hematocrits, on average around 60, and fetal red blood cells with shorter lifespans, both of which increase their potential for red blood cell turnover and thus unconjugated bilirubin production. Second, they are slow to metabolize unconjugated bilirubin because they are just starting to upregulate enzyme UGT1A, which is not active in utero. Last, as newborns are learning to feed and working towards normal infant stooling pattern, excretion of bilirubin in the stool may be reduced. Physiologic jaundice versus pathologic jaundice. Physiological jaundice typically appears in full-term infants 24 hours after birth and peaks at around 4th to 5th day and resolve by second week. Serum level is less than 15 mg per deciliter and total bilirubin rises by less than 5 mg deciliter per day. On the contrary, pathological jaundice appears within 24 hours of life. Rise of bilirubin is more than 5 mg per deciliter per day. Total serum bilirubin level is more than 15 mg per deciliter. There is a persistence of jaundice after 2 weeks of life, abnormal color of urine and stool, and the level of direct bilirubin is more than 2 mg per deciliter. Etiology of neonatal jaundice. Underlying etiology of neonatal jaundice has two distinct types: unconjugated and conjugated. The etiology of unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia can be subdivided into increased hemolysis, increased enterohepatic circulation, or reduced clearance. The first mechanism to consider is increased hemolysis of red blood cell, which lead to increased production of unconjugated bilirubin. Etiologies of increased hemolysis in newborn include isoimmune mediated hemolysis, which is to say ABO or Rh incompatibility, inherited red blood cell membrane defects such as hereditary spherocytosis, erythrocytic enzyme defects such as G6PD deficiency. Polycythemia is more common in infant of diabetic mother. Extravasated blood such as in a Kifel hematoma can also lead to jaundice. An ABO incompatibility which occurs when a mother is blood type O and infant is blood type AB. Increased enterohepatic circulation is another mechanism of hyperbilirubinemia in newborn. Breastfeeding jaundice, breast milk jaundice, and intestinal obstruction are common etiologies under this umbrella. Breastfeeding jaundice results from failure to establish adequate breastfeeding and typically presents within first week of life. Reasons for inadequate breastfeeding can include poor milk supply, poor latch, cracked or painful nipples, or poor positioning. Inadequate feeding leads to dehydration and inadequate stooling. As a result, there is a decreased clearance via the stool. On the other hand, breast milk jaundice occur later than breastfeeding jaundice, often at 2 to 4 weeks, and thought to be due to an enzyme in the breast milk itself, beta glucuronidase, that promotes enterohepatic circulation. It is important to know that there are other etiologies which can lead to unconjugated jaundice associated with reduced clearance. These are Gilbert syndrome, Crigler-Najjar syndrome, and hypothyroidism. Crigler-Najjar syndrome is congenital autosomal recessive inherited disorder that lead to unconjugated jaundice. It is characterized by reduced activity of UDP glucuronyl transferase enzyme, and this enzyme is required for glucuronidation of unconjugated bilirubin in the liver. Syndrome is further classified in type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is characterized by severe symptoms due to complete absence of enzyme activity. These newborns experience life-threatening severe jaundice and they are high risk of developing neurological complications. Bilirubin level ranges from 20 to 25 mg per deciliter. Jaundice appears within few days and rapidly worsen and cure is only liver transplant. While type 2 characterized by milder symptoms due to reduced activity of enzyme. These individuals experience milder jaundice intermittently triggered by stress. Individuals present later in life and could be managed by conservative measures. Gilbert syndrome is an autosomal recessive disorder of bilirubin metabolism within the liver. This is due to genetic mutation in promoter region of UGT1A. There is reduced glucuronidation which lead to unconjugated jaundice. These individuals will also experience recurrent jaundice. Gilbert syndrome does not require treatment but must be distinguished from other disorders of unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia. Syndrome associated with unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia is Gilbert, Crigler-Najjar type 1, Crigler-Najjar type 2. Direct hyperbilirubinemia, which in a newborn is defined as a direct bilirubin greater than 20% of total or greater than 1 mg per deciliter, is never normal and should prompt urgent consideration of other etiologies. The etiologies include either it could be anatomic, which is post-hepatic obstruction, metabolic, infective, and syndromic. So, syndrome associated with conjugated hyperbilirubinemia is Dubin-Johnson, which is also known as a black liver jaundice because of black pigment deposition in the liver, and Rotor syndrome. History should focus on the newborn feeding, voiding, stooling, and mental status. Some question you may ask on the history include: is the baby exclusively breastfed? If so, does mom feeling breastfeeding is going well? Is there any problem with attachment? How many times baby fed in the last 24 hours? How many wet diapers in the last 24 hours? How many stools in the last 24 hours? Is the baby waking to feed? Other history questions should focus on risk factor for hyperbilirubinemia, gestational age, pregnancy complication, did a sibling require phototherapy, is there a family history of red blood cell disorder, is there a family history of G6PD deficiency. It is also a good practice to confirm that the baby had a newborn screen, as hypothyroidism and galactosemia are two uncommon causes of neonatal jaundice. Physical exam should be comprehensive, but we can discuss highlights here. Weight is an important vital sign in this patient and should be reported as percentage change in birth weight. General appearance is also very important. Is the baby well and vigorous? Does he was appropriately responding with examination? Skin should be examined for jaundice. Kramer's rule describes the relationship between serum bilirubin level and the progression of the skin discoloration. Jaundice which terminates at neck indicate the bilirubin level between 5 to 7, chest and upper abdomen 7 to 9, lower abdomen and thighs 9 to 11, arms and legs 11 to 13, while palms and sole, it means the jaundice is from head to toe. It means the bilirubin level is more than 15. Head should be examined for kephalhematoma. The abdomen should be examined for organomegaly. A neurological examination should be performed with focus on suck and tone. Diagnostic testing. Diagnostic testing should always include total and direct serum bilirubin level. In cases of ABO incompatibility, a test known as CUM test should be sent. CBC, reticulocyte count, G6PD, activities, peripheral smear, and type and screen should be considered when there is severe hyperbilirubinemia, early onset of neonatal jaundice with the first 24 hours of life, rapid rate of bilirubin rise greater than 0.5 mg per deciliter per hour, and failure to respond appropriately to phototherapy. Management. IAP nomogram, which can be downloaded from the primary literature, it defines treatment threshold for hyperbilirubinemia in infants born at gestational age more than or equal to 35 weeks. Enter the total serum bilirubin level and age in hours at which it was assessed, and the normogram will give you the bilirubin threshold at which to initiate phototherapy. There are three curves or three different thresholds at which to initiate designated low risk, medium risk, and high risk. a gestational age of less than 38 weeks, or a presence of neurotoxicity risk factors such as isoimmune hemolytic disorder or ABO incompatibility should prompt infant to be evaluated on medium or high risk cows. When we are calculating patient's phototherapy threshold, it is good practice to determine the extent transfusion threshold, which can be done on nomogram. Management. The cornerstone of hyperbilirubinemia is phototherapy and feeding. Newborn with severe hyperbilirubinemia may also require exchange transfusion. This is outside the scope of this video. Phototherapy uses blue light and convert unconjugated bilirubin in bilirubin photoproducts. It can be delivered either through overhead closed crib or via bilirubin blanket. Response to this therapy is dose dependent, so it is crucial that maximum skin surface exposed and interruptions are minimized. Feeding is also critical to the management. Infant should be fed at least every 2 to 3 hours. Breastfeeding mothers should be offered the help of a lactational consultant. Thank you for watching this video on neonatal jaundice. Please like, share and subscribe.